back to Gigi's Kitchen, and if you're new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis, and in today's video I want to share with you how to make my delicious pork ball noodle soup. As I just mentioned, today I want to share with you how to make my delicious pork ball noodle soup. So this recipe is really easy to do, and this is a great dish to have on a cold winter's day. It's warming and it's full of ingredients that are really good for us as well. So what I've done is I've laid out all of my ingredients, and I'm just going to put the first part into the slow cooker pot. So I'm going to be making the soup first. So what I've got here is one yellow pepper that I sliced the top from, removed the core and the stalk, and then I just simply sliced and diced it. And then I've got some spring onions here. So I just simply topped and tailed the spring onions and then cut them into like 1/2 centimetre pieces, I'd say. And then I've also got one carrot that I simply peeled and then just sliced into batons, so thin pieces, thin long pieces. You don't have to slice that into batons if you don't want to, you can slice it any way you like. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that into my slow cooker pot like so. And then I have some green beans here. So I've got probably about 2 handfuls of green beans that I'm just going to pop into the slow cooker pot, and then to that I'm going to add my chicken stock. So I've got about 1,000 mils of chicken stock, and I would say to use quite a lot of chicken stock for this recipe, because the noodles, when you put them into the slow cooker pot, if you leave them in there, they tend to soak up a lot of the stock. And my son absolutely loves that's the part he really likes about the noodle soup, is the stock. So I always tend to put a lot in there. So I'm just going to pour that over like so. And then here I have some miso paste. So I've got about a tablespoon of miso paste. I bought my miso paste online. I think you can get it in supermarkets now as well. But I found it easier to buy it online. I found it immediately instead of having to wander around the supermarket for it. So, and then I'm just going to add some salt and pepper. So salt and pepper to your taste. You don't have to add it if you don't want to. I tend to add just a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pepper as well. My son likes spice, but he doesn't like things too spicy, so I only add little bits of everything at the moment. He is getting a bit more used to spice though, so I might make some more spicy dishes soon. And then I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of oregano as well, or oregano, depending on which side of the world you're standing. And then I'm going to pop the lid on, and I'm going to put this on high for about 2 to 3 hours. But if you wanted to cook it slower, you could put it on low for 5 to 6 hours, and I promise you the vegetables will be cooked after that time. And then all you'll have to do is add the noodles in, and now I'm going to make the pork balls. As I just said, I'm going to make the pork balls now, and what I've got here is about 500 grams of minced pork, and to that I'm going to add about 4 heaped tablespoons of ground almond flour. If you haven't got ground almond flour, then you could use ground flax seeds if you wanted to make it a bit healthier. But you could also use breadcrumbs as well. I don't use breadcrumbs because I tend to have a slight gluten intolerance, so that's why I don't like to use breadcrumbs. But if you wanted to, then you could. And then to that, I'm going to add some tamari. So I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of tamari as well. And tamari is a soy sauce that's just simply been fermented for longer. So if you can't get this in, you can use soy sauce. This is also gluten-free as well, which is why I tend to use it. And then I'm going to add salt and pepper to this as well. I always like to season my meat well, so I always add a little bit more than I normally would in another recipe. So I'm just going to add salt and pepper like so, and then I'm going to take that spoon out, set that to one side, and I'm going to go and dampen my hands, and then I will make the balls. So I ran my hands under the cold tap just quickly, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of these ingredients together until it forms a big dough ball. Shape and everything is well mixed in. I think that's it now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the meat up with my hand into quarters like so, and then from those quarters I'm going to make the pork balls. So what I like to do is I just like to grab a piece of the pork mince and I like to roll it in between my hands like so, and then I put it on the plate. So I'll just show you again. I'm just rolling it in between my hands and then I'll just put it on the plate like so. And I'm just going to continue to do this until I've used up all of this mixture. As you can see, I have finished making the pork balls and I've put them on this plate, and I'm going to pop the plate into the fridge for about 1 to 2 hours while the soup cooks. And the reason I put them in the fridge is so that when they go into the oven onto a hot baking tray, so I'll put a baking tray in the oven while the oven preheats, the meat will hopefully be penetrated by the heat of the baking tray, and that will make the meatballs really juicy. So yes, as I said, I'm going to pop this into the fridge now for a couple of hours, and later on I will preheat my oven to about 200 degrees and I will pop a baking tray into the oven while it preheats, so that when the meat hits that baking tray it will heat it up and hopefully make the meatballs lovely and juicy. The oven has preheated, and as you can see I have popped the meatballs onto my baking tray. This is a Pampered Chef stoneware baking tray, so I don't need to add any oil to the base of this tray, but if you need to add oil then please do. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. As you can hear, the meatballs are already sizzling away from the heat of the baking tray, and I'm going to leave it to cook until they've gone a lovely golden brown colour. The noodle soup has been cooking away for a good couple of hours now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to cook the noodles. So I'm going to pop the noodles just into the slow cooker like so, and these will take a little longer to cook than if you were cooking them on the side. Normally I think these take about 4 minutes to cook, but obviously as we're cooking them in the slow cooker pot, these are going to take a little while longer. I think they normally take about 15 minutes in the slow cooker pot before they're lovely and soft. And once they are, obviously you don't need to drain them out, you can just leave them in here. So as I said, I'm just going to cook the noodles in here now. I'm going to try and cover them in a lot of the broth as well. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, the broth may soak up a lot, or the noodles may soak up a lot of the broth as well. So there may not be a lot of broth left at the end of this. I'm hoping there is though, because my son loves it. So I'm really hoping this doesn't soak up too much broth. So I'm going to leave these, as I said, to cook for about 15 minutes, and then I will add the meatballs, and that will be our dinner done. The pork balls have turned a lovely golden brown colour, so I'm going to take these out of the oven. The noodles have cooked as well, so I'm going to serve up, and that, once again, will be our dinner done. The noodles have cooked, and unfortunately they have soaked up most of the broth, but they still smell delicious, so I'm going to try it anyway. I might add a little bit more broth later on when the boys get home and we have our dinner together. But I'm just going to try a bit of the noodles and some of the pork ball as well, because it smells so good, I can't wait. The pork balls are quite chewy on the outside but really tender and juicy on the inside, and the noodles are cooked perfectly as well. So yes, I'm really looking forward to that for my dinner this evening. That's how you make my delicious pork ball noodle soup, and that recipe I will link in the description box below for you. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be having this for our dinner this evening, and it smells and tastes so good, I can't wait. So for now, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.